Michael, and today I'm going to share some political, quote unquote, positions that I have shared with local representatives and delegates here in the state of Maryland. One of the reasons I felt compelled to do so is I feel like everything is so politically polarized. I don't really bother with any of that. I don't have a position as far as isms, conservatism, liberalism. My position is usually always based on problem solving, rooted in freedom, rooted in liberty, as well as rooted in success. Some of you may be wondering, are you running for political office or something? At this point, not really. I'm going to in the future, though. I may buy some road signs or something and say I'm a write-in candidate for this November election, maybe just to get my name out there. But that, as well as talking to folks who are elected and or groups, including the Democrats and the Republicans, will be about the extent of my political action this year. I'd like to start right off that the closest thing I'm affiliated to is the Natural Law Party, whose federal offices, I believe, no longer exist. It's a big focus on reducing societal stress. That'll start with my first one. I do believe, point number one, in transcendental meditation or some form of meditation in public schools. My first couple of points will be about things in schools. Number two, and I'm going to make this fairly quick, a government crypto market, as well as expanding and tweaking the current bond market. This is a means of funding. Now, somebody may be trying to come out with a government crypto, I don't sure, but I am talking about a fully thriving, functioning government exchange, a market exchange. And using this money, because exchanges are highly successful endeavors, in order to pay for just about any government program you want. Now, some of you might be thinking I'm crazy. And maybe I am, but not on this point. The real point being, to drive this home, is that it has already been done. And what I mean by that is the U.S. bond market. A lot of people don't know this, but the U.S. bond market pays for up to 60% of U.S. infrastructure. That is 60%, especially on local levels. I wish to tap into that sort of success that already has a precedent and expand it, including expanding the bond market itself, into a crypto government market. I personally do have some crypto investments, and I want to see this thrive to the point to where even taxation becomes unnecessary, or at least some forms of it do, especially the graduated federal income tax, which isn't progressive at all. It's been the same since Babylon. This brings me to my next point, economic education in schools. This is huge with me. This is so very vital. Basically, I want, and I mean early, I mean young, I want, again, funded by the crypto market, the new crypto government market exchange that I'm proposing, a fund put aside for investment and intensive education based on economic investment. By the time the children leave high school, I want them to have tens of thousands of dollars at least by the time they leave. It's incredibly doable. Think of it. If they have 18 years, because they become legal age at 18 years, then every child is given some money, yes, not through taxes. So if you want to complain about it, you're just complaining that you don't want them to have it. This has nothing to do with taxation. I am talking about a program that works with the profits coming from crypto bond market, whose precedent has been set by another bond market which already exists. Of course, the crypto exchange would be not just bond, but that's part of the expansion, but I'm going to move this along. quite literally they could leave with about $100,000, and that, my friends, is a head start, because anger, therapeutically speaking, is a secondary emotion, and all this political xenophobia and anger that develops usually is secondary to, could be other factors, but one of the big ones is people worrying about what they actually worry about, and that is their daily economy. Everything about my proposals is about reducing stress, and economic stress is humongous. I'm not talking about personal issues, whether they involve some forms of other justice. I have my opinions on those things, but let's start with an economic core value, because a good paycheck or the ability to be able to flow and start small business and make investments is, to me, the greatest family value. And it's the one that most families are concerned about, is their bills, their bank accounts, their wallets. As part of the funding proposal, I would like to see an increase of government-run businesses. I think this could be a good idea. And any other ways outside of taxation that governments can raise money. And on local levels, that can be anything from lotteries to more festivals, more fun, more profits involving with the cannabis industry. As I mentioned before, lotteries, legal gambling, all of those things. I also would like to see a greater promotion of locally grown food and urban farming. In fact, that'll bring me now to something that is a little more of a social issue, and I want to get rid of sort of the crime and punishment model that we're so used to in the US. In fact, jail to me should be working on community farms in villages. Again, I'm not way out in left field on this. There are countries that do this. In Finland, for example, I think the longest prison term is 20 years. I heard a case recently where a girl got 10 years for driving on a suspended license. We have to get away from the jail business, folks, and only use law enforcement in jail for the extreme, for people who actually are going out and harming others. And even then, I believe they should be working on something productive and not being stored in a human warehouse. Part of my early investment fund would also include an IUL, which would mean every child would start with an IUL, which is a whole life insurance. This is an account that you can borrow from, so no one has to die before getting some of that money. In fact, you can borrow a fairly large sum of money if you start to struggle as an adult. I understand this is a bit controversial, but again, what I'm trying to do, and every single policy that I'm trying to do, is to reduce societal stress. Notice there's no anger in my voice, no polarization. Everything is about problem solving. I am a problem solver. By trade, I was an electrician. I spent most of my life solving problems. I build guitars, solving problems constantly, and I truly believe that my proposals are new ways of funding. So we take the stress out of taxation. We take the stress out of economic woes, because people will get an incredible jump start. In the case of the IUL, anytime they're in their adult life, and yes, that means they would have to alter these policies a little bit, but anytime they're in their adult life, even as soon as they leave and become legal age, they would have at least tens of thousands of dollars at their disposal and could borrow from the IUL. So those are my proposals. Conflict-free, reduction of stress, no isms to protect. I'm not being overly idealistic. I'm being extremely practical. This is not socialism. You could call it hyper-capitalism, but with the government involved. Anyway, I'm Daniel Michael. As I said, I may throw my hat in the ring just as a write-in, just to get some signs up locally for an office that maybe I can win down the future. I want you all to have a great day.